So welcome to the podcast.
I am so honored to be here.
The inaugural broadcast of the Johncast. Welcome. Honored guest,
Thanks for having me as your first guest.
Alexa Johnson. Wife, Christian, mother. That's the three things you told me to characterize yourself. You think that's accurate?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. So, tomorrow's a big day for us.
It is.
What is tomorrow?
It's our 11th wedding anniversary.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I am. I'm very thankful for our 11 years.
11 years. It's gone by fast.
It has.
Goes by really quickly. Are you surprised that I remembered?
No, I thought I knew you'd remember.
Yeah. I do sometimes. So one of our best friends, Beth's birthday is the 14th. So that's
13th.
helpful. 13th. What do you think I said?
14th.
So 11 years of marriage.
And our nephew's birthday's on the 15th.
Yes. Yes, that's right. We have a weird family thing where everyone has a birthday on someone else's special day, either a wedding day or somebody else was born on their day. All kinds of fun things in our family. But 11 years of marriage. Any highlights?
I mean, our 4 beautiful children.
Yeah, we've had 4 children in 11 years. How old are you when you had your first?
22. 22. Finished it up at 28. I mean, 29.
29. And you're done. You're calling it quits.
I'm putting it on the record that we're done.
Nothing official for me. Like, I'm done, but I'm saying I'm not, You're not
willing to say that?
I'm not willing to permanently go get it done. You know what I mean?
Oh, I got you.
I'm not procedure kind of guy.
Yeah, we know. We could share lots of stories about procedures and you and not faring too well.
Don't do well with those. Yeah, I'm done for sure because you're done. So, but I'm not gonna, go down that route.
I got you.
You picking up what I'm laying down?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Well, how about this? So you've got a lot of wisdom for 11 years. You're young. We married young. You were 18. 19. I made sure you were 18. We were 19 when we got married. We were 19 when we got married.
Crazy.
So having a baby at 22, that's still really young. A lot of people are still in college at that age. What advice would you give to a young lady who is about to have maybe her first child? What anxieties, what joy, what things would you share with them that maybe they should know that no one tells them?
I wasn't prepared for, I guess, how just like what an emotional roller coaster it would be. You're like the happiest you've ever been and also like the saddest and the like most scared, and I don't know. It's just like it's okay to feel all those emotions. You can still be very thankful and still be very sad and like all over the place at the same time. So I don't think one cancels the other out. You know what I mean?
So I think by 40 weeks, I could tell with you, with all 4 of our children, about 40 weeks, we didn't make it there with Reese, but you're ready to have the kid, right? You're ready to have your body back, which you don't really have it back, but you're ready to have this baby out of your body, and you're ready to have this baby in your arms. What's it like to hold your child for the first time?
It's the greatest thing ever. I mean, besides like accepting Jesus as your savior, I don't think there's a better feeling than holding your child. Your husband's great too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's something that's hard for a man to understand, I think, because you bond so much with that child over 9 months because it's being created in you.
Yeah.
You're giving your blood to that child. The food you eat goes to the child. All the above. And old Daddy-O's over here just be bopping around like nothing's going on.
I think it's almost harder for a dad. I think that would be harder.
I will say for dads out there who's about to have their first child, that one thing that I noticed was I didn't really feel a connection with our child until about 6 months.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you don't love them right away. I mean, I always tell people when they're having their first child, it feels like God opens a door that you didn't know was there, and this love rushes out of a room that you didn't even know was possible. It's like a fatherly love, a motherly love, a parental love for a child. You instantly feel that you didn't even know was there. Would you say that's pretty fair?
Yeah, definitely.
It's like the survival of like, I will die for you immediately upon seeing this child. It's probably a guy thing.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I feel like everybody's pretty selfish until they have their first kid, and then you realize like how selfish you are, and
you have to not be selfish,
right? And you have no choice, pretty much, to not be.
If you're selfish, you're not going to get up at every 3 hours or 2 hours to feed this child.
Right. It's very refining.
Yeah, it is. It's eye opening.
Yes. And
I wasn't the best support at times.
Oh, Callan, you were.
Callan, I was there. Jude, not so much. But we're not talking about me right now. We're talking about having kids. So
it's all good.
So I will say for first time dads, the biggest thing I learned was not to watch your wife get the epidural, because
I
almost met my maker that day.
I wasn't really worried about you. I just heard the nurse yell at you.
Yeah.
I came back, suck it up.
I came back.
And also the red chair. Warn them about the red chair.
I revived from my pass out episode and was there for you for the birth. Yeah, and then they're going to put you in a room, guys, and if you're really unlucky, you're going to get a recliner that doesn't recline, and that's where you're going to sleep until they decide to put you in a better room, which you maybe have that couch I got the second or third night was
just really hard for you. I know.
Very clutch. It was really hard for me. Everybody gives me a hard time because they're like, you didn't have the baby. But you know what, guys, you can suffer too. Guys can suffer. It's tough. I cried our first night because Callan was born and he was crying at like 2 a.m. And I remember crying thinking, what have we done? Because it hit me that everything in my life had an end. I was going to high school, ended in 12th grade. I was going to college, graduate after 4 years, master's, whatever. It always has an end. Working, get off at 5 o'clock, go home. Work to Friday, you've got the weekend. Everything has an end. And it finally hit me. We had one thing that never had an end, which is this child, 24 hours, 7 days a week for at least the next 18 years of our life. We're responsible for him.
Right.
And that's heavy to hit you.
Yeah.
But once I broke through that night, it was good.
Yeah, you're a great dad.
The rewards of holding your child, seeing them grow up, it's fun.
It is fun.
It's fun. It's worth all the selfishness you set to the side. The sacrifice, I guess is a way to put it. It's worth it.
Oh, 100%.
So you've had, we'll go back to the moms here. You've had both C-section and regular birth. Which one would you prefer?
I would say the C-section was the hardest.
Really?
For me.
Why?
Yeah.
I would say the regular was hardest for me.
I'm not very concerned
Watching the epidural was no good. I did not like that.
You thought that was worse?
C-section, I was kind of pumped for it. I had my music in my ear, but it was my fourth. So I was ready. I'd been prayed up. I prayed it up. I had my music going in my ear. And you came in and I stayed above curtain. Like my buddy Jeremiah told me, he said, stay above curtain. I stayed above curtain and I was good to go.
There you go.
Watching, it gets kind of hairy there when you're doing the regular birth. Some blood, some weird stuff going on.
The curtain, I guess.
Yeah, I was actually okay until I saw the needle. The needle's what got me. I didn't look the next few times though.
You knew.
Baby 2, baby 3, nah. I'm gonna go check on the parents while y'all do all that, and I come back in. I was good to go.
Yeah.
But you recovered well on all of those. Do you think being young when you had children helped that?
Yeah, I definitely think that my first 3 were a lot easier than the last one. I don't know if it's just the way it worked out or because I was younger, but
yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't feel like you're that old because
we could try for a 5th and find out.
Yeah, we've already committed to the people listening that we won't do that. So at some point we've got to move on with our life, right? We can't keep having kids.
No, we're done.
We got to grow old. Maybe. Not raise babies anymore. Maybe just be me and you again at some point,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what else you want to talk about? How about this?
You're the question man. I'm a woman of few words generally.
Tell me this. How do you, we're just going to jump into this. How do you, and because we did get married quickly, how did it feel to you to have a boyfriend, break up with that boyfriend, meet another man, Prince Charming like myself, and get married within 6 months? Was that pretty wild roller coaster? A lot of people don't know we got married that quick. We met, got engaged in 3 months, got married in 6.
To me, it wasn't crazy because I just knew that it was right.
It's like,
but like thinking back on it now, yeah, it sounds absolutely crazy. But no, I've never thought it was like in my head. No,
we prayed
that was
it
crazy.
up pretty good though. I felt like
There was just stuff all along the way that made me feel like it was God, you know.
we prayed that God would put barriers up if it was like lust or whatever it may be that we're trying to rush into this, or was it a God thing that he would put up barriers if it wasn't us, and if it was him, just to, knock those barriers down, and he knocked them down over and over again. You went a Hawaii vacation, honeymoon trip.
I did. We won a Hawaii honeymoon.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
The bridal
I was thinking about that earlier today, that you went to buy your dress and entered for a honeymoon trip, and you won a honeymoon vacation in Hawaii. Ended up being kind of a scam, but it was confirmation for us at the time.
Right. I never really win anything like that, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah. You won me, though, so that was kind of cool.
That's true. That was the better prize.
And then, what do you think? Tell me about your wedding day. What would you do different if you could go back?
I would
we kind of rushed into it.
I would pick things I liked. I mean, our wedding was beautiful. Like,
it was.
My mom basically picked it all out, and she's very talented at all that stuff. The one thing I would change is that we would video it. We didn't video it.
I kind of like the photography only, though, because it jogs the imagination.
That's true.
Like, I made up memories that didn't really happen, but no one could prove me wrong. No one could prove me wrong because there's no video.
But we wouldn't really watch I don't think we would watch it very often anyway. So
no, probably not. Probably not. But it's been Jonathan Williams, came from Texas all the way to Texas. My good buddy from Texas. Go check out the Awkward podcast that Jonathan has with Illuminate. No, it's not Illuminate. What is his ministry?
Courtyard
Ministry. That's right. Illuminate is the Z Experience, which I'm sure I'll get to talk about it in a later podcast. But Jonathan's been a big part of our life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I look forward to getting him on here. So, we got 4 kids. 2 of them are in school. One of them is preschool, we'll call it.
Play preschool.
And you teach them all. So tell me about that. Would you recommend that? We kind of talked about some things with marriage. We've talked about our first or having your first child, what to expect, some things like that. What would you say if someone, especially nowadays, there's a statistic that homeschooling has risen by so many 100% across the nation. So a lot of people are doing it. What would be your advice, or are you still looking for advice?
I am not someone who has all the answers about homeschool. This is our 3rd year, I think, 2nd year completely on our own. And I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't know enough to give a ton of advice, but the only advice that I know is that just because you choose this year, it doesn't have to be this way for 12 years of your child's life. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to be I have to plan, have a plan set in place for their senior year. It's just take it a year at a time, and
let's learn addition this year.
Right. Let's just calm down a little bit.
Let's learn the alphabet.
Don't freak out about high school when they're in kindergarten and 1st grade,
Well, that goes back to our faith bow too, right?
Right.
Don't worry about tomorrow, for today's God's grace is sufficient for today.
Right. And you definitely
have to
need
pull
a lot
of that mentality.
You can't homeschool and not just know his mercies new every morning, because it's having kids is one thing. You learn patience, and then it's teaching them how to read is another form of patience that is a different set of skills, I think.
Yeah. So all you homeschool moms and homeschool dads, shout out Jeremiah. Hang in there, right?
That's right.
What about curriculum? I mean, do you think that you should search around? Do you have any resources for that, or is it kind of each your own?
It's really just what your kid learns best with, I think. There's certain ones that I like just because I feel like the kids are doing well with it, and it's easier for me. It's open and go more stuff than, having to have a ton of separate books and, a lot of different, what's the word I'm thinking of? Just a lot
of different avenues to go.
Right, right. It's very straightforward.
Is it kind of a keep it simple system that you like?
Yeah.
These are the basics. We don't need a lot of fluff.
Yeah.
2 + 2 is 4.
Yeah, for math, definitely.
I don't need 2 flamingos and then 2 rhinos and have 4 animals. I mean, you could do that, I guess, but you're saying keep it kind of more simple for you as work best.
Yeah, just for the boys at least. I don't know how.
What about the pressure? Do you think you put more pressure on yourself than's necessary as far as that? Because that's a big responsibility. Because when I come home and I'm like, why can't you read? And you're like, shut up.
I take it very personally. If like, I think the most critical people are your family too. Like, I love them, but
yeah.
It's like secret little quizzes here and there, and if they don't know or if they don't answer quickly, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to think.
You feel judged.
I do, yeah.
Ooh. So they go over to Mimi's or Grana's or Nana's.
And I'm not saying they do it like maliciously at all. Just I take it personally, and I shouldn't.
You feel like I do, and they're up there and about to strike out in the baseball plate. And I'm like, you hit it in practice.
Right.
Don't you embarrass me at this plate.
Yeah.
And so if Mimi's like, hey, read this menu. And they're like, and you're like, you know the word. You know that word. It's apple.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yeah, apple. So you do feel judged. So be prepared to be judged.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a good lesson in life, though, because, I mean, how many people were telling us, don't do it? I mean, we felt weird anyway, because most people send their kids to school. Thankfully, we've been in an opportunity where we don't necessarily have to. You felt called to do this, right? Like you felt like God put that on your heart to do this.
I mean, even before it was like really a popular
But we didn't have the best support as far as being like, this is the best thing for your kids. You had kind of a lot of second guessing going on when you say like,
right. And I didn't know anybody.
It's not the norm really, right? We didn't. I went to Athens High School. You went to Madison Academy, private school, but you still are going somewhere. So this is new for all of our family to get used to. But I guess my encouragement would be like, that happens a lot in life.
Yeah.
You know, like you're going to have things you want to do. You feel like maybe the right things, but there's going to be external doubters, external pressure from people who have no skin in the game.
Right.
And you're just going to have to be true to your guns, be true to your gut, be true to your faith, what that is, and go for it. Because I think you've done an excellent job with them.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, smartest kids I know.
You're just the best kids.
We're a little biased towards that, but
I really do love it. It's a privilege to be able to be home with them and teach them. So I'm very thankful that you work hard so that I'm able to do that.
I'm trying to work smarter, not harder. I just make it sound like I work hard.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of good help that helps me get things done. But so how has it been for you? Because you were quite the athlete at Madison Academy.
I wouldn't say quite the athlete. I would say average.
A lot of people don't know this about you, but just stud golfer. Probably could have played college, maybe some pro.
That's very
won the inaugural Way Scramble golf tournament.
That's right.
Just we walked off on them a little bit.
We did.
You know.
That was a good
but
day.
A lot of it was because your drive's so killer and you get to hit from the ladies' tees, but you're just dead down the middle about 200 yards.
Golf is very hit or miss, literally for me.
I get what you did there. Where's my little pod track here actually has a laugh thing. So once I learn how to do it, I could go and then we could laugh.
Nice.
We could have like an audience. We're not there yet. This is pretty fresh.
This is our
for me. So
table.
What's it like for you? With our kids becoming athletes, is it hard for you to watch that? You think I'm crazy sometimes?
Oh, I always like sports and stuff, so I was a little competitive, but not super competitive. But I feel like a different kind of animal comes out of you at the ball field as a baseball mom. Like, I didn't think I'd be this way. I thought I'd be more chill.
Yeah.
Not so wild, not
Mama Bear Lex.
Not getting at the fence.
Mama Bear Lex has come out a couple times. I've seen Mama Nana Bear come out a couple times.
Don't mess with Mimi's babies or Nanas.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't mess with these ladies' children because they will chew your face off. And it's not pretty. I hadn't got thrown out of a game. I got close one time. Me and a guy got into it, and I've never seen you that fired up.
Yeah, I was very upset.
Yeah, but we worked it out. Me and the guy, we talked it out, and
Yeah.
There's been only one guy that I have lost respect for on the t-ball field, and it was a guy that refused to shake our hands after the game. So even the guy, me and him were like pretty much spitting in each other's face because we were yelling so much at each other. We still shook hands, and I respect him for that. So you want to work through things, but come on, have some sportsmanship.
That's right.
But I guess I say that as sports are crazy. Like when you're in it yourself and you're the golfer, you're the football player, you don't really think about what your parents go through. But I think it's worse for parents than it is the kids.
I think so too.
You're playing in the sport yourself. It's not near as bad as being the parent. And I think parents actually have it worse than the kids sometimes.
Yeah. Well, me and my mom were talking about it, and we just put so much pressure on these little kids, you know, and I was like, every single one of these kids tonight is going to say, "Mommy, can you lay down beside me and tuck me in tonight?" And they're like crushing home runs, and all the people are yelling at them. I'm like, this is how old these kids are, you know? Like, let's put it in perspective. They're very talented, but still so young.
Man, I will say, me and Pat, we had a bad day at practice in the spring with the Pirates. And I made Hudson cry within about 10 minutes of being on the field. And then Pat made somebody else cry. And then before I knew it, we had them split up in groups. Half the group was doing wall sits on the fence. It was just a tough day. But you do have to instill some discipline in these kids. Like, hey, look, your mom's not out here. I expect more out of you than probably most people in your life, especially on this field. And you're going to give it to me. And if you're not going to give it to me, they're going to have some problems.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they do pay to play. So you can't be too tough on them.
Yeah. You don't want to crush them.
But you know, what I've experienced to some of these people is sometimes you're the only fatherly influence they have. And so you have to take that serious and love on them and build them up because they may not get that anywhere else. So it is an opportunity for, if you are coaching, to really pour into these kids. And I know I've seen Jeremiah. He's probably one of the best coaches I've ever seen because he loves the kids. He demands a lot. Looks like a crazy man out there sometimes. But he loves the kids, and I don't think you can ever deny that. And I think that's how I feel, and my brother feels. And
well, y'all aren't doing it for you, you know, you're doing it for them to make them better boys and men, and one day, hopefully. And
look, just because you make your kid cry, don't mean you did something wrong. If that was the case, then I would have quit a long time ago.
Well, let's get Cal and Jude on the podcast and see what they think.
No, they don't know. You've seen me. You've thought I've been crazy a couple of times, but it all works out, right?
It does.
Yeah, I think they enjoy it.
You get to learn how to apologize, and
it's humbling.
Yeah,
I've had to teach them how to apologize by having to apologize to them.
That's how they learn.
Yeah. Well, so what else do you want to talk about? What's it like? How about this?
I knew you'd come up with something.
How about this? Yeah, they called me question mark at my old job. So. Did you always go to Madison Academy?
Yes, since kindergarten.
Wow, so you're like a K through 12 or like. Mm-hmm. How was that?
I mean, it was fine.
We talked about homeschool. What do you think about like kids thinking about going to private school? Is it safer? Is it better? What would you say is the best thing about private school?
The best thing about private school, I think.
Food.
The food was awesome.
Yeah, y'all did have some good food.
It was good. And I guess the other thing would be that hopefully everyone there is like-minded, and like if it's
it's a Christian school, right? Like,
right, so, yeah.
And I would say that it's probably not anymore, but at some point it was kind of more of a Church of Christ backgroundish. I mean, not. Yes. I mean, it didn't mean everybody that went there had to be that or anything.
All the teachers did, but the students didn't.
Okay, so
but not anymore. I don't think.
At least back then it was like that. So you would say most of the people were pretty like-minded in that sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you also do have people move in because they can't go anywhere else. Is that also correct?
I would say from kindergarten till 6th grade, it's like really good. I feel like everybody's pretty like-minded, but then it's like in 7th and 8th grade, it's like the kids that got kicked out of public school come to private school. And so basically, I think you learn everything that public school kids do. It's just maybe...
So you still have kids smoking cigarettes in the parking lot. Like you still got your kids. I mean, that's how it was at Athens. You had the kids you knew that did the drugs. You had kids you knew that just was more of tobacco users. You had kids that, hey, they could get the alcohol. And then you had people who just kind of stayed away from that.
Yeah, it's the same thing at private school, I think. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least when I was there. I'm not saying every private school.
Yeah. Well, it's probably similar now, I imagine.
I'm very thankful, though, for my education and that my parents did that for me. You know?
Yeah. You feel like you got a better education? Do you feel like it's about the same or...
I don't know. I wouldn't say it was like better, probably.
I mean, compared to me.
That's just genetics. Just kidding.
What?
Just kidding.
What?
I
had I don't even remember. 2.8 at Athens High School, 3.0 almost.
You're cute though.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I got cuter. The beard helps because that covers most of my face.
Oh my gosh, you're being.
I did
Don't
have
be like
I
that.
think I did have a 3.2 at 318. I think's what it was in
Good.
Alabama. So
That's great.
yeah, I went to the Hooner and kind of learned how to study,
There you go.
and then transferred down and finished up at Bama with I'll say a 3.2. If I was interviewing somebody, I'd tell them 3.2. They'd have to go look through my manuscript or transcripts to.
It'd be like 3.1.
Close enough. He's a rounder. That's what they say. He's a rounder upper.
Yeah.
He's
There you
he's
go.
a glass half full kind of guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you are.
So we've talked about a lot of things in life, but me and you both got called into ministry at an early point of our relationship.
Yes.
We were called to start a church called the Way Church back. I guess it's been about 8 years ago now. So it's 2023. So it was about 2015-ish, 2014. We actually started out at Marion Street together with Jeremiah when he was preaching there. Do you remember your first day there?
I do.
Yeah.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
How was that?
It was.
So I invited you to church with us.
You and your mom and dad.
Yeah, me and my mom and dad. I was visiting from Texas at the time, and you drove all the way from Addison to go to church with us at Marion Street.
I did, and I got there before you.
Very
and
prompt.
Walked in.
We were a little late, which you've learned is pretty commonplace for me.
And I did not know what to do or where to go, and I felt really awkward because I was already very shy.
So what happened?
This very nice older lady came up to me and made me feel very welcome.
I did not know that. Who was that?
It was.
You remember?
Wayne Kirkendall's wife.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
She's
What's
a
her
sweet
first
lady.
name?
I don't remember.
Okay. She was very
Miss
sweet.
Kirkendall.
She made me feel very welcome.
Oh.
And then, yeah.
And then what happened?
Then you strolled down the aisle.
I said, "Hey, what's up, girl?
I was like,
you got a seat for me?
Thanks for getting here late.
You got a seat for me." So Jeremiah said some guys were already eyeing you, though. Did you talk to Jeremiah?
No.
Oh, okay. You didn't talk to him yet at that point. Well, so we started there, and then we had our faith journey to start a church, the Way Church, and started meeting in homes. And man, that's been a trip. All the journeys of different personalities.
It has been a trip. We could have a whole podcast on.
Yeah, we'll have to do that another day.
I know.
We'll have to do stories from the church pews because that might be the hit. That might be the one that sets this thing off.
Yeah, it could. You could write a book. We're working on a memoir.
We're not. This is the start of it tonight.
Through a text thread.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Jeremiah both.
Oh, yeah. We could probably,
memoir.
we could just go back and do chapters based off of that probably.
Mm-hmm.
But starting a ministry is not for the faint of heart, and you need to really be called to do it because I feel like most people in ministry do get burnout. I think we've both felt burnout before, but there's something when God calls you to it that helps you persevere, I feel like.
Right.
Versus flaming up and flaming out. You see a lot of people that are really motivated, really excited, want to bring all these ministries in. I'm always kind of wary of those people because those are the people that kind of run really hard and then they just fall off and you don't see them again. And then you're kind of stuck holding the ministry, stuck holding all the things they got you in. And when you start a ministry, what I've experienced is slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
And just being very obedient to what God calls you to do in that. Ours has never been about growing numbers. It's just been about being obedient to God's message that he gave us to share with the people, to love the people that he gives us. And if he gives us 500, then we'll love those 500. If he gives us 25, then we'll do 25,
Yeah.
25 seems to be easier than the 500, but I will say depends on the 25 you have.
For sure.
Because we've had
that should be on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Depends on the flock, right?
Yeah.
So what do you find fulfilling about being in ministry and being a wife of an elder, being a wife of someone who has to be involved?
I mean,
because you have a very big part in this as well.
Yeah. I would say in the beginning, I felt like, I was just the one that watched the kids, and now that I've kind of, grown up in the last 10 years, I realize how big a part that does play. Like at our church now, it's like the kids are like the main attendees. There's like how many kids to adults?
They could always joke they could take us over if they could organize.
Yeah, that's right.
Instead of them going to class, they could kick us out to go to class if they knew how. But I mean, we started and none of us had kids. I mean,
right.
There was some infertility amongst us, and then there was some we just weren't ready. And then once they came, I mean, we went from having 5, 6 kids. At some Sundays, we probably have 40 or 50 kids there now.
Right.
Which is, I think I see that as a blessing of the Lord.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, they are greatest ministry, I think, because without kids, your church is dying.
They're the greatest ministry and the greatest logistical nightmare, probably. Wouldn't you agree? Because if you want to do anything, you always have to have something for kids.
Right.
You have to have them secure. Hopefully, you're doing something beneficial. You don't just want to sit them in a classroom and watch Home Alone 2 every time. You want to try to pour some seeds into them while they're there, at least.
For sure.
So, do you ever have moments where you're like, man, I wish I could just go to attend and not worry about?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I feel like the way I know there's lots of like fruit from being involved with the ministry of this church and everything, but I feel like the way that we both know is it's a calling and not just like, just an idea we had. Is when you're burnout, I'm normally encouraging you, and then when I'm burnout, you're encouraging me. It's never like both of us are just like, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah, and I've kind of noticed that in our marriage is like, even like sickness, like you'll be sick and I'll be fine, and I'll be down and you'll be fine. It's just
like anxious, and then
the other one pulls you out of it, smacks you around a little bit or something. But it's like that. Ministry is like that. It's just I think slow and steady wins the race. It's prayerful. Don't be too anxious, looking too far ahead. Just take what the day gives you. But it's hard. It really is, because you got so many expectations and so many people looking at you, and people come in with their own missions and their own ideas, and they want it to become their ministry. And you've just really got to guard the ministry that you feel like the Lord's called you to bring. Yeah. We talk about there's different places for different churches. There's some churches that are very appealing to people from the secular side of things, and the aspects of they talk more about worldly things but tie in Jesus to those. They're very surfacey, and that's fine. Then you have deeper theological churches, and I think there's a place for all of us, but you've just got to be true to what you feel like that calling is.
Yeah, definitely.
And continue to persevere.
And we've been given some really great people who are our partners in that.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, without them, nothing would get done probably.
Oh,
because the amount that I have to work, and you've got so many kids to keep up with,
it's impossible without them.
The details of every day, the Lord's really brought us some good people.
Oh, super selfless, loving,
He's brought
godly people.
He's brought the ministry, but that's what God does. He provides what He asks for, right? So if we feel like He's called us to this, then He's providing for it, in the way that He sees fit. And yeah, it's been a race. We'll see. We can get into this in another podcast, but a part of, I think, the vision for the way was how I was kind of raised up in a very legalistic mindset of works-based salvation versus just trusting Jesus' work on the cross, repentance, and trusting in Him. And knowing that my kids can grow up in a place that has that gospel message, that's more focused on what Christ did, exalting Christ.
Right.
No cross plus, but just the cross, and how that works. I think that is a big driving factor for me too.
Oh, for sure. The kids, definitely.
And so it's pretty exciting to be able to think that, they'll be able to be raised in this church, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, well, we just moved to a farm not long ago. How's farm life?
I like it if I don't have to be involved with the farm.
You're more of a city girl.
Yeah, I don't really like this. I'm more of a suburb girl.
Okay.
But
you're a Berber.
A Berber. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like to have Target within distance. And
Target's not within distance here.
I know. That's the bad thing.
Thank God for DoorDash, though. That helps a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not really an outdoorsy. I'm an indoorsy person.
We've got lots of cows.
Yeah.
You like looking at them. You don't like
I do. I like to look at them. They don't like me very much. But
yeah, they don't like me either. I tried to talk to them one day, and they wouldn't. They ran away.
They wouldn't. Yeah.
Except for one.
They didn't like you.
One kind of got angry at me, but
the boss.
Yeah, Baldy. One of the Baldies. They're a little bossy. You got to watch them. Okay. Well, I guess this is enough for tonight. Thanks for joining the podcast.
It was my pleasure.
Did you have fun?
I did have fun. This is the first time we've talked in
I know
2 weeks.
That's kind of one of my goals is I was like, you know what? We got 4 kids. We rush them to bed a lot. You go get a shower, bath, whatever you do. I do my thing, watch some football, and then we're asleep.
Yeah.
But this actually forces us to talk a little bit. So hopefully it'll show some fruit in our relationship a little bit.
Yeah. I had a fun time.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Hopefully, we'll have another one next year.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, the podcast doesn't ruin that.
No, we will.
I think it'll help.
Yeah, it's great.
It's like therapy, kind of.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it a lot.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Hey, we'll see you around.
See ya.
Bye.